The Ladosians' inept attempts at spaceflight had become a running joke throughout the galaxy. Steam-powered rockets exploded on launch pads. Makeshift shuttles crash-landed in trees. Astronauts got lost orbiting their own moon. Galactic tabloids ran humiliating headlines, mocking the Ladosians' failures. Tyro, a young Ladosian engineer, seethed with frustration as he watched the intergalactic assembly erupt in laughter. The Ladosian ambassador had just unveiled their latest starship design, a rickety contraption that looked like something from a cheesy historical holodrama. As snickering alien diplomats filed out of the conference hall, Tyro hung his head in shame. Without a miraculous technological leap, his species seemed doomed to remain the laughingstock of the cosmos. Tyro feared the Ladosians would never earn the respect of the galactic community. But the Ladosians' fortunes changed when a human exploration vessel, the Stargazer, suffered a catastrophic engine failure in Ladosian space. The crippled ship crash-landed on the outskirts of Tyro's city, disgorging a crew of bewildered humans into a world of steam engines and horse-drawn carriages. Despite the inauspicious nature of first contact, Captain Cooper of the Stargazer saw an opportunity. By sharing advanced human knowledge with the Ladosians, he believed humanity could gain a stalwart ally on the galactic stage. But not everyone supported this course of action, including Cooper's own second-in-command. As Tyro and Cooper labored to establish a partnership between their worlds, shadowy forces moved to sabotage the budding alliance, fearing it would disrupt the balance of power. The future of human-Ladosian relations hung in the balance. At stake was the Ladosians' chance to shed centuries of humiliation and take their place among the stars. Failure meant consigning Tyro's people to a pathetic footnote in galactic history, but success promised to rewrite that history and prove that the derided primitives of Lados would have the last laugh. As Tyro and Captain Cooper worked tirelessly to forge an alliance between their worlds, they faced opposition from all sides. Commander Holt, Cooper's second-in-command, argued vehemently against sharing Earth's advanced technology with the Ladosians. "Captain, this goes against every non-interference protocol in the book," Holt said, his face reddening with frustration. "We can't just hand over our tech to a primitive species." Cooper met Holt's gaze unflinchingly. "Sometimes, Commander, doing the right thing means bending the rules. The Ladosians need our help, and we need allies out here." On the Ladosian side, Senator Zorak whipped up anti-human sentiment, claiming that accepting alien aid would erode their proud culture and reduce them to little more than galactic charity cases. His fiery speeches drew large crowds of isolationists who viewed the humans with suspicion and fear. Despite these challenges, Tyro and Cooper refused to abandon their vision of a brighter future for both their peoples. In a gesture of trust and goodwill, Cooper revealed the existence of the Genesis engine, a revolutionary terraforming device capable of transforming dead worlds into lush, life-sustaining paradises. "We could use the Genesis engine to revitalize your homeworld," Cooper explained to Tyro and a gathering of Ladosian leaders. "It would be a symbol of what our partnership can achieve." The revelation sent shockwaves through Ladosian society. Some saw it as a miracle, a chance to restore their planet to its former glory. Others, like Senator Zorak, denounced it as a Trojan horse, a ploy to make the Ladosians dependent on human technology. As news of the joint venture spread, it caught the attention of the Corax Imperium, a ruthless empire known for subjugating weaker species. Emperor Zorgax, seeing the budding alliance as a threat to Corax dominance, dispatched his top operative, Vara, to sabotage the project from within. Vara arrived on Lados disguised as a representative of a friendly trading consortium. With her disarming charm and quick wit, she easily infiltrated Tyro and Cooper's inner circle. They welcomed her as a valuable ally, unaware of her true intentions. Behind her friendly facade, Vara worked tirelessly to sow discord between the Ladosians and their human partners. She fed Commander Holt's doubts, hinting that the humans planned to exploit the Ladosians for their own gain. She whispered in Senator Zorak's ear, stoking his fears of cultural contamination. As Tyro and Dr. Zara Solaris, a brilliant Ladosian scientist, labored to integrate the Genesis engine with Ladosian technology, a series of mysterious accidents plagued their efforts. Equipment malfunctioned, experiments went awry, and critical data vanished without a trace. Tyro, suspicious of the mounting mishaps, enlisted the help of his childhood friend Kira Vox, a shrewd Ladosian security officer. Together they launched an investigation into the accidents, tracing them back to Vara and her network of Corax infiltrators. But before they could expose her treachery, Vara made her move. In a daring raid on the terraforming lab, she and her agents overpowered the guards and stole vital components of the Genesis engine. With the device crippled, the future of the human-Ladosian alliance hung in the balance. Tyro and Cooper, united by their unwavering belief in their cause, vowed to recover the stolen components and bring Vara to justice. They gathered a small team of trusted allies and set out to infiltrate a secret Corax base, determined to reclaim what was rightfully theirs. As they navigated the base's treacherous corridors, Tyro and Cooper were forced to confront not only the Corax's deadly traps and elite warriors, but also their own doubts and prejudices. In the heat of battle, they forged an unbreakable bond of trust and friendship, learning that their strength lay in their unity and their courage to stand up for what was right. In a climactic showdown, Tyro and Cooper faced off against Vara and her Corax enforcers. Though outmatched and outgunned, the pair's perseverance and ingenuity proved more than a match for the Corax's brute force. In a daring plan, Tyro used his knowledge of Ladosian technology to overload the base's power core, triggering a massive explosion that scattered the Corax forces and bought them the time they needed to recover the stolen Genesis engine components. With Vara's plot exposed and the device restored, the human-Ladosian alliance emerged stronger than ever. The terraforming project was back on track, and the galaxy was forced to recognize the potential of this unlikely partnership. But as Tyro and Cooper stood atop the ruins of the Corax base, the full scale of the challenges they faced became clear. The Corax Imperium would not take this defeat lightly, and their fledgling alliance would be tested like never before in the battles to come. They exchanged a determined look, ready to face whatever the future might bring together. The acrid smell of burning circuitry filled the air as Tyro and Cooper surveyed the wreckage of the Corax base. Smoke billowed from twisted metal structures, casting eerie shadows in the fading light. Cooper hefted the recovered Genesis engine components, his face streaked with soot and sweat. "We did it," Tyro said, his voice barely above a whisper. "But this is just the beginning, isn't it?" Cooper nodded grimly. "Let's get back to base. We've got work to do." In the weeks that followed, the human-Ladosian alliance threw themselves into their shared vision with renewed vigor. The Genesis engine hummed to life, its intricate mechanisms meshing seamlessly with Ladosian tech. Dr. Zara Solaris and her team worked tirelessly, adapting human advancements to Ladosian systems with startling speed. As the first tendrils of new growth sprouted from Lados's barren wastelands, a shadow fell over the planet. The Craxian warships materialized in the sky like a swarm of angry insects, their sleek hulls gleaming menacingly in the sunlight. Admiral Theron Vex's face filled the view screens across Lados, his sharp features twisted into a sneer. "Primitive beings of Lados and human interlopers, I am Admiral Theron Vex of the Craxian Empire. Surrender the Genesis engine immediately or face annihilation." Tyro's fist clenched as he stood beside Cooper in the command center. "We will not bow to threats," he declared, his voice steady despite the fear gnawing at his insides. Cooper nodded in agreement. "We stand united. The Genesis engine stays with us." Vex's eyes narrowed. "You have made your choice. Prepare to—" The transmission cut off abruptly as an explosion rocked the command center. Alarms blared as smoke filled the air. Tyro felt a sharp pain in his side and saw Cooper stumble, clutching his arm. "Craxian infiltrators," someone shouted. As security forces flooded the room, Tyro's world spun. Through the chaos, he locked eyes with a familiar face. Counselor Zelos, his mentor, slipping away with a group of unfamiliar figures. The betrayal hit Tyro like a physical blow. "Cooper," he gasped, fighting to stay conscious. "We need help." As if in answer to his plea, a new voice cut through the mayhem. "Secure the perimeter. Move, move, move." Captain Arya Nova strode into the command center, her battle-worn armor gleaming. A squad of elite human soldiers fanned out behind her, quickly neutralizing the remaining threats. "Looks like I arrived just in time," Nova said, helping Tyro to his feet. "What's the situation?" Cooper, his arm hastily bandaged, joined them. "Craxian blockade, internal sabotage, and a Genesis engine to protect. We need a plan." Nova's eyes gleamed with fierce willpower. "Then let's make one. It's time to show these Craxians what a real alliance can do." As they huddled together, formulating their strategy, the Craxian ships loomed overhead, a constant reminder of the monumental task that lay before them. But with each passing moment, as human ingenuity melded with Ladosian perseverance, a spark of hope began to grow. The true test of their alliance was about to begin. The command center erupted into a flurry of activity as the Alliance's forces mobilized against the Craxian threat. Captain Nova's tactical brilliance, combined with the Wagners' intimate knowledge of their home terrain, proved a formidable combination. Within hours, the Craxian assault faltered, their ships retreating into the inky blackness of space. As the dust settled, Tyro surveyed the aftermath from atop a crumbling watchtower. The Genesis engine stood tall amidst the rubble, its gleaming surface a beacon of hope for his people. Captain Cooper joined him, his uniform singed but his eyes bright with triumph. "We did it," Cooper said, clapping Tyro on the shoulder. "Now the real work begins." In the weeks that followed, human and Wagner scientists worked tirelessly to integrate their technologies. Dr. Zara Solaris led the effort, her nimble fingers dancing across holographic interfaces as she fine-tuned the Genesis engine systems. The day of activation arrived, heralded by a grand ceremony. Dignitaries from both species gathered around the massive device, their faces a mix of anticipation and awe. Tyro stood at the forefront, his hand hovering over the activation panel. Just as he was about to initiate the sequence, a hush fell over the crowd. A sleek obsidian craft materialized above them, its design unlike anything Tyro had ever seen. A booming voice echoed across the gathering. "I am Lord Vizorn of the Praxians. Cease your actions immediately." The imposing figure of Vizorn appeared before them, his crystalline skin refracting the sunlight. "Your Genesis engine threatens the stability of this entire sector. Surrender it now, or face our wrath." Cooper stepped forward, his mind focused. "With all due respect, Lord Vizorn, we've worked too hard to give up now. Perhaps we can find a compromise." Vizorn's eyes narrowed. "You have one planetary cycle to comply. Choose wisely." As the Praxian ship vanished, Tyro turned to Cooper. "We need to act fast. Dr. Solaris, can you analyze the engine's energy output?" Zara nodded, her fingers already flying across her datapad. "On it, but we'll need more time." Captain Nova approached, her armor still battle-worn from the Craxian conflict. "I'll ready our defenses. We captured some Craxian tech that might give us an edge." As the hours ticked by, Tyro felt the weight of his people's future bearing down on him. The captured Craxian cloaking device sputtered and failed in tests, leaving their tactical options limited. Just when all seemed lost, a junior technician burst into the command center. "Sirs, we've detected anomalies in our communication logs. It appears we've been infiltrated by Praxian agents for months." The revelation sent shockwaves through the Alliance. Tyro's mind raced, piecing together the implications. "They've been manipulating us all along. This isn't about quantum fields. They want to keep us down." Cooper's eyes hardened. "Then we have no choice. We activate the Genesis engine now before they can stop us." Tyro nodded, persistence etched on his face. He turned to the assembled team, each member poised for action. "Let's show the galaxy what our alliance can really do." The command center buzzed with nervous energy as Tyro and Cooper stood before the Genesis engine's control panel. Dr. Solaris's fingers flew across the holographic interface, rerouting power from every non-essential system. "We're at 87% capacity," she reported, her voice taut with tension. "It's not ideal, but it might be enough." Cooper nodded grimly. "It has to be. Vizorn's deadline is almost up." Tyro took a deep breath, steadying himself. Initiating activation sequence. Now. The massive device thrummed to life, its intricate mechanisms pulsing with otherworldly energy. The ground trembled beneath their feet as the Genesis engine reached out to reshape their world. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the facility. Captain Nova's voice crackled over the comms. "Multiple Praxian ships incoming! They've launched fighters!" Cooper cursed under his breath. They must have detected the activation. "Nova, buy us time." Outside, the sky darkened with swarms of sleek Praxian fighters. Energy beams lanced down from the clouds, searing the landscape. Captain Nova's voice rang out over the din of battle, coordinating the Alliance's defenders. "Wagner artillery, focus fire on Sector 7. Human squadrons, engage those fighters." The air filled with the scream of engines and the thunderous boom of explosions. On the ground, Alliance soldiers dug in, their faces set with unwavering dedication as they fired up at the seemingly endless waves of Praxian attackers. In the command center, Tyro and Cooper worked feverishly to keep the Genesis engine stable as the battle raged outside. Suddenly, a familiar face appeared on the main view screen. Silas Cray, one of their own human crew members. "Tyro, Cooper, you have to stop this madness." Cray's eyes were wide with panic. "The Praxians are too powerful. If we surrender now, they might spare us." Cooper's eyes narrowed. "Cray, what are you talking about? We can't give up now." Tyro studied Cray's face, realization dawning. "You've been working with them all along, haven't you?" Cray's expression hardened. "I'm trying to save us all. This alliance is doomed to fail. The Praxians offered me a way out for all of us." Before either Tyro or Cooper could respond, Cray vanished from the screen. Moments later, alarms blared throughout the facility. "The Genesis engine's core!" Dr. Solaris cried out. "Someone's trying to destabilize it." Cooper sprinted towards the reactor chamber, Tyro hot on his heels. They burst through the doors to find Cray hunched over a control panel, his fingers flying across the keys. "Step away from there, Cray!" Cooper shouted, drawing his weapon. Cray whirled to face them, his eyes wild. "You don't understand. If this goes on, we'll all die. The Praxians will destroy everything." Tyro took a step forward, his hands raised. "Silas, please, think about what you're doing. If you destabilize the core, you'll create a quantum singularity. The entire system could be consumed." For a moment, Cray hesitated. Then, with a snarl of desperation, he lunged for the final set of controls. Tyro didn't think. He simply acted. In a blur of motion, he threw himself at Cray, tackling the traitor away from the panel. The two men grappled, tumbling dangerously close to the swirling energies of the reactor core. "Tyro!" Cooper cried out, unable to get a clear shot as the two struggled. With a final, desperate heave, Tyro pushed Cray away from the controls, but the momentum carried them both over the edge, plummeting towards the heart of the Genesis engine. Cooper watched in horror as his friend disappeared in a blinding flash of light, swallowed by the quantum maelstrom at the core of the device. For a moment, everything seemed to hang in perfect stillness. Then, with a deafening roar, the Genesis engine surged to life.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.